and I will be putting these in writing to the town clerk, and we'll see what answers I get. So I'm not expecting answers this evening. I thought it was, before I do that though, I just wanted to say, I thought the comments that have been made this evening about how hard it is to be a councillor are absolutely true. I know that. I know how hard I worked. I know how hard I tried to do the right thing. I know there were meetings I sat in where somebody, either alongside me or opposite me, was saying something with which I profoundly disagreed. But I believe in the right to free speech. I believe everybody has a right to their opinion. I may not agree with it, but they have a right to their opinion. But the consequence of that is that I too have a right to my opinion. And so that's what I tried to do. When I was a councillor, I tried to be fair. I did work extremely hard, and I've still supported Portishead Town in all sorts of different ways, as Tina has said, that she has done before and intends to continue doing so. And I'm sure other councillors here have done things of which they are proud and think they're worthy of what they have achieved. I could give examples, but I'm not going to embarrass anybody by saying, well done. Now, what I am going to come to, as I said, is my questions. Now, 2019, cast your minds back to May 2019, I didn't stand for re-election. Didn't stand for re-election because I didn't think I could do a good job. And it sounds daft to say it now, but it was because my husband and I were doing an awful lot of travelling. And as a consequence of travelling, you can't be here to support your fellow councillors. And I don't see how you can be doing a good job if you're constantly away. So, in case anybody has any doubt, that's why I didn't stand again. And also, in order to be absolutely clear, I have absolutely no desire to be a town councillor ever again, because that has been an accusation levelled at me on social media, amongst other things. The personal abuse that I have taken, and my family, would beg a belief. And if there's one thing I've learned, you need to have a tough skin, a thick skin. And if you haven't, then don't put yourself up as councillor. So, back to May 2019. There were all sorts of promises made. There were promises made on all sides. But as we know, it's the Portishead Independent Party that achieved the majority. Absolute democracy. Democracy as it should be. However, I question some of those things. Have they happened? So people have been asking, well, we should be talking about what's going on. So, here's the question then. I can remember, let me think, I think it was 2018, after I'd been chairman for 2 years, and my vice chairman was Peter Mitchell. Peter Mitchell agreed to be chairman, but only if I would be vice chairman. What a hoo-ha that created. What a lot of abuse we got at that meeting in May 2018. And yet, what do we have with the current town council? I'll say no more on that one. Somebody mentioned timings. Now again, I seem to remember the Portishead Independent saying that they were going to go for integration of public and councillors. They'd be sat round little tables. There wouldn't be this them and us situation. Haven't seen that happen. In fact, if anything, it's more them and us, because they're over there and they're over there and I'm sat down there and I really can't see who's down here or who's talking. At least when we were them and us, you know, it was them and us, but now it's sort of sideways on and it's still them and us. I just throw that out there. We still have 30 minutes of public participation, 4 minutes per person. I never could see how that worked, and I did try and change that, but hey-ho, that's still there. Another thing that that was promised by now Councillor Davey was 2 million in S106 money. And I keep asking, where is it? What's happened to it? How have you spent it? I'd like to know. It's a simple yes or no. Did you find the 2 million? Yes or no? And if you did, what have you done with it? Okay, now, moving on. Over the past 3 years, by my calculations, and I'm not a mathematician, although I do understand accounts, PTC has raised approximately £2 million over 3 years. £2 million. That's aside from the S106 money. I'm talking about a different £2 million. And they've raised the precept again for the current year, for 22-23. I don't have a problem with that. I voted in January 2019 to raise the precept. I was voted down. I don't have a problem with it being raised, but I'd just like to know how it's being spent. So let's have a think. And so where's all that money gone? And undoubtedly, somebody will say, well, there's been a pandemic, don't you know? Have you forgotten that? What could we do with the pandemic going on? Well, that's fine. I appreciate that. And how much did you get in grants towards coping with the consequence of the pandemic? 65,000, give or take, is what I've seen in the financial records. So if you've got some grant money and you've also got all this precept money, what's it been spent on? What is visible to me? I can't see it. I would like to know. I'm not saying you've not spent it wisely. I don't know. I would like to know. I would also like to know, as a consequence of all this money washing around, why isn't PTC paying for the skate park as demanded for by Councillor Davey in the Parish Poll in 2017? Councillor Davey, as she is now, said then, we'd got £500,000 of money washing around, we could afford to pay for it. There was a parish poll. The majority of people who voted said, yes please, town council should pay for it. I have no problem with the skate park. I really don't. But why isn't it paying for it? And why is it only contributing a maximum of £50,000 in match funding? £50,000 out of 300,000 they need to raise. So if they raise 50, they get another 50. Skate park people I'm talking about. That's 100. They've still got another 200 to raise. If you've got all this money, surely there's a reason for raising the precept. Surely it is to pay towards things for the residents of Portishead to use. The last thing I'd like to mention, and I looked it up this afternoon because I thought, well, I better get this right, otherwise you'll be down on me like a ton of bricks. I note that since May 2019, we have now had 6 clerks in 3 years, including locums and Councillor Bull, who stood in as interim clerk. And that's not counting Sharon Sherborne. Sharon has worked here as assistant clerk for many years. Amazing person. She always gives more than 100%. So I want it on record.
Paul, they're talking online, I think.
I'd like it to go on record how much work Sharon Sherborne has done over many years, and she's stepped in frequently to hold the fort. And it was where I did a list, month by month, over the past 3 years. There's Sharon, Sharon again. Clerk who should be there, for whatever reason, possibly ill, possibly away on holiday. We can't help it if we're ill, and we're all entitled to holidays. But she's stepped into the breach. So I want it recorded. So how much has been spent on recruitment? This is my other question. Because we've not just had all these clerks, we've had all these other people, because Amy and Julie both said to me this evening, and I hope I got it right, that you're fairly new.
I've been here a few years.
Oh, you've been here longer.
Yeah.
Apologies, Julie.
That's
Amy said you were fairly new. Yeah? So we've had a lot of new people. We've had a lot of new staff. So I'd just like to know exactly where all our precept money is going. And so I will be putting this down in an email to the clerk, who can then circulate it as he chooses. And that's all I've got to say. Thank you so much for listening.